Hey everybody, coming on to talk about our brand new 9x13 baker. It comes in our gorgeous blue. It is metal, so we do have stoneware 9x13s, but I love this because it is lightweight. It has a snap-on storage lid, like that. It is tight. There we go. And it is for more than just cakes, although I'm gonna make our cake in it today. This is that standard pan. In fact, it is considered a kitchen essential. So things like lasagna and baked ziti and any kind of casserole, dinners like Greek chicken where you're just gonna put in pieces of chicken and vegetables and red potatoes, asparagus, toss it all with some Greek seasoning, bake it, it's also good. It's kind of like a one pan meal, maybe not a one pot meal. Brownies, everything simple and easy. I love that you do get the full 9x13 size with those bump out handles. And as I said, today we're going to be making our Dulce de Leche cake. So in here I have 6 tablespoons of butter, the Dulce de Leche cake mix, 2/3 of a cup of milk measured in our mini measure-all cup, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in our mini easy read measuring cup, because that is so much easier to put in there, and 2 eggs. Now I wanted to show you this because this morning we broke too many eggs for our pancakes. So I put them in our new reusable bag. Why? Because I wanted to be able to show you this. I love the fact that these bags not only are easy to use and easy to clean, but they don't leak. So this is just an easier way to store them, and just gave me a chance to show that off. And to clean it, you just turn this inside out, put it in the dishwasher. So easy to use, easy to clean, and takes up like no space. What else was I doing? Oh yeah, so this is the Flex Plus. I've got the beaters on here. We've put the power stick on, and we're going to be putting the battery pack. Remember, the battery pack is always the last to come to the party and the first to leave. So we are going to... Now I do have a KitchenAid, but why use a KitchenAid when it's so easy to pull this out and mix this up? This is, of course, our new 4-quart plastic bowl. And that's done in just a couple of seconds. So before I put this into the pan, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about baking pans and flouring and buttering a pan. So people ask me all the time, if you have a nonstick pan, why do you still need to flour and butter the pan? So it's actually twofold. One is when you are baking anything in a pan like this, say it's ziti, you don't care what happens, right? It's all gonna come out if it's a nonstick pan. But with a cake or with bread or with brownies, the part of the pan that's the hottest, right? The outside edge is where the batter is going to adhere to first. So the bottom and the edges are gonna get that crust on it. So on a cake, you don't really want a hard crust. On a bread, maybe, depending on the bread. So the flouring and the buttering does 2 things. One is the butter keeps the dough from sticking too soon to the hot edges and bottoms of your pan. And the second is the flouring part gives your breads and your cakes something to climb up. So it's not just about greasing a pan. You need to actually help the batter to actually rise higher and not slide down in your pan. So you have a couple of options. I've just taken the wrapping from the butter that I used in here, and I just smeared it all over the inside of this pan. So we have so many different ways that you can grease a pan or use oil. We do have our new, oops, I didn't put that on properly. We do have our new oil dispenser, which we'll be talking about later, but I'm in love with that. It doesn't really work in this particular case. Then we have our kitchen spritzer, which you're gonna use to pump it up. And once you get that pressure, then you can spray a fine mist. Also not ideal for baked goods. You can definitely do it, but you want to make sure you get that grease or that flour evenly distributed on your pan. So this will do it, but then you need to go in and check to make sure that the spray get into all the nooks and crannies. So as a baker, I will do this in a pinch, but it's not my preferred. By the way, when you use the kitchen spritzer, if you want to love this tool, you just need to remember to burp it. So I just sprayed once, but you can see that I can't get that top on, okay, because it's still pressurized liquid in the spray nozzle. So you just want to remember to, I don't know if you could hear that shh sound. If you open it and close it, or as I say, burp the baby every time, then the top should go on easily and you'll be able to, it won't clog up in between. So as I said, I just took the butter wrapper from the butter in the recipe, excuse me, and I just smeared it all over the inside of the pan. Now I'm going to take the chef's basting brush, which is, some of you have already commented how much you love this. So I love it for a couple of reasons. One is because it's silicone, you're never going to get a hair in your food, like, you know, one of those bristles. You're never going to get that. Second thing is it's super easy to clean. So I've been using this for years and you will never see any food in there. It is dishwasher safe. Some of you may not know that it comes apart. It comes apart for easy cleaning, so that actually most of the time this is the part that I put into the dishwasher. This part doesn't need to be. If you are using this for basting, the hook goes on the edge of the bottle or on the inside of the bowl so that it doesn't, you don't have to put it down. But what I'm going to use it for here is just to make sure that I get that butter all the way into the corners and all the way up the side of my pan. Now, the next thing you're going to do is flour. Now, you can do a couple of different things. I could have reserved some of the batter, or excuse me, some of the dry mix from my cake mix to flour it with. That is a really great way to, especially if you're using a mix, to use the mix to flour your pan. If you're doing a chocolate cake, you can use cocoa powder. I've just got flour in my powdered sugar shaker, and I am just going to give it a light dusting. And then you just want to shake it around. You don't want too much. Dump out the extra. Okay, you just want it coated. Now I'm going to put my batter in there and bake it. Now, one more tip is do not put your batter in a pan and let it sit. Because if you have floured and buttered your pan and you let it sit, the flour gets absorbed into the batter and then it doesn't have anything to climb on. So, oh my gosh, this smells so good. So I'm gonna spread that all out, pop it in the oven, and I'll be back.